Hi, Cody.
Hey, Nolan, how are you?
I'm good. It's an honor talking to you.
Oh, well, thank you very much, man. It's a very cool experience. I heard about the website, and I'm glad to be interviewed, man.
Now, with your father being the famous wrestler that he is, and your uncles and brother and godfather all being wrestlers, what was it like growing up growing up in a wrestling family?
Well, I guess it's like growing up in any family, because from the start, from Jump Street, I was in a wrestling family, so I really didn't know what, I guess, a quote, normal family was, but it was, a little different in the sense that I didn't grow up so much in a classroom as I did in a locker room, and learned some things that other young men, other young women wouldn't have learned had I, had I not been in a wrestling family. So, and it was different, but we tried to make it not different. My dad was our junior high football coach, and we always, we always went to great lengths to have a little bit of normalcy, there too. But I mean, it's very cool. It's especially one of the cooler things. I mean, with my dad mostly, but one of the cooler things is when fans come up to him, or people who really had enjoyed what he did or had been touched by what he did, and they would tell him about it. That was always, it gave me a good sense of history, because it's such a rich tradition.
Yeah. Now, would probably be the opposite. If you were not brought up in a wrestling environment, do you think you would still be a wrestler?
Oh man, the stars work in funny ways. I do think I still would be a wrestler, because the first time I fell in love with it, I didn't fall in love with it because I got to see my dad do it. I actually didn't fall in love with it from watching one of his matches. I fell in love with it hearing in the backstage area somebody else's match, and I tell people all this all the time, and it sounds cheesy, but it was a very cool thing that I don't know who was wrestling. It was at a WCW show, and the thing I know is I heard somebody hit the mat, and the way the crowd reacted after you heard that big, thud, and the way they almost joined in making the noise that comes from hitting the mat was the coolest noise I'd ever heard, and since then it was wrestler.
Huh. Yeah. When your father signed with WCW, how did you handle the moving?
Oh, when he went from the WWE to WCW, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, I mean, it's interesting in the difference between Ted and I's cases. Ted's dad was full time on the road, working pretty much through a good chunk of his childhood, whereas my dad, basically after his brief stint in the WWE, he came to WCW and worked more as a behind the scenes personality, and then he got a lighter schedule. So it was actually a really good thing for me and my whole family, because we could, like I was telling you earlier, my junior high football coach, he drove me to school every morning. It was really a rare thing, for him to not be there on important things for me. So I handled the move well, and actually we lived in Marietta, Georgia, from the time I was 5, and I just recently bought the house that I grew up in, so I still live in that house.
Now, I understand you're a big video game fan, as am I.
Yeah.
And what is it like being in a video game?
Man, it's one of those things. I think somebody told me once that when it happens, and if it happens, really sit back and enjoy it, take it all in, play the game, learn about the game, and that was something I had to remind myself to do, because the WWE is moving so fast in terms of, a live television show every Monday on the scale that we put, a show on. It's very difficult to do, but I can tell you I took the advice and ran with it. When the game came out and I got to see myself, I played just about everybody in the game, and I played against me, I played with me. I really got a kick out of it. It's like a digital footprint you make, on the universe. It's very cool. But like I said, you got to really sit back to realize the scale of something like that. And I don't think, to be honest, most superstars and most of the divas don't realize that game is such a tremendous seller, and it's such a doorway to a new audience that it's very important that it's top top shelf and it's top quality, and that game is.
Yeah. On the same subject about video games, I've noticed you have a Triforce symbol on your boots associated with the Legend of Zelda. Now, do you guys get to design your wrestling attire, or did you just ask for it to be in there?
When it comes to the guys in the ladies' gear, we've got that's one thing there's plenty of is very good seamsters and seamstresses in the world, and if they have any experience making wrestling or boxing gear, they're usually it's just a matter of what you want to guess, how far you can stretch your imagination, and we have on site two of the very best, and they you pretty much it's your creation, it's how you want to, I was actually looking into Brian Kendrick's bag the other night. I was sitting next to him in the locker room, and he's got a map, a genuine piece of cloth map, stitched onto the back of his trunk, and it's this whole post-apocalyptic look, and it's really, like I said, it's a view. In my case, with the Triforce, I didn't mind that people thought it would be dorky or uncool, because I'll tell you what, I still to this day play that game, and it's I play The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past once a year, just like I would read a book once a year, and I play it every year, and I don't know, as a kid, I'll be honest, I think I learned something from it. So I know there was a lot of other people who were on that same page with me, and I figured I'd send a little homage to them, and have it on my boots.
Exactly. A while ago, you said in an interview that you wouldn't be interested in going to Hollywood, but to be the best in wrestling. Why do you think superstars jump from the ring to the big screen?
I think the career risk greatly diminishes, and I don't mean that in being unemployed or employed. I mean the risks we take in the ring are much less on the silver screen. They're just tremendous. You've got stuntmen and women. You've got people taking care of you, trying to get the best shot. I used to actually I briefly lived in Hollywood.
Oh wow!
And part of that experience, and it doesn't really have anything to do with the film, television, or even the theater world. It's just the idea of jumping over to Hollywood is a lot less grand than I think people, than I think people realize. It's a lot of responsibility. I mean, John Cena is, he's one night he's defending the World Heavyweight Championship, and the next morning, afternoon, and night he's promoting a movie. So it's a lot of responsibility, and it's just I enjoy the wrestling aspect of the WWE. That's what I think I can be the best at, and genuinely believe it. So that's why I kind of like to keep my feet in the ring.